Thank you for watching Stories Untold. I am your host, Pule Molebatsi. Welcome to the show. The topic of water safety has remained a hot topic in South Africa, with unforeseen circumstances and natural disasters that hit. Vulnerable communities are most likely not to survive a drowning incident. We tackled this issue with Kholisile Khumalo, founder of Mzandi Scuba Diving Academy. Let's not waste any more time and dive straight into that.
My upbringing, was a typical 80s township life, nothing spectacular. A family of what, four? It was my mom, my dad, my sister, myself, and then in 85, my younger brother was born. So, typical family, dad, a laborer, mom, working, good kitchening as they used to call it then. That's the typical upbringing I had. Very, very difficult, I must say. But one thing I love about my parents, and thanks God they're still alive, both of them, is that, they encouraged us to study. They encouraged us, to go through school, to study, so that we can change our own lives, because they realized that for them, they were not educated, but the only way that we can get out of the current situation that we're living in, the financial situation we found ourselves in, is actually through education. One of the key things that I remember that stands out for me is, we were not allowed to get in the water. It was really, really scary, to get in the water. We were really, and there was a little, we called it radibata, a little, body of water there. It's not even a lake or anything. It's not even a quarry, but just a little body of water that was there. And we will sneak from time to time to go there and swim. And, we're not even expert swimmers, just within the, as we did it that time. It was self-taught. It was, And I cannot forget the day my mom discovered that we were going to that place, unbeknownst to them. Do our level best to make sure that there is no sign of visibility that we were swimming. Can't you're just applying Vaseline to half your face and then the other part is dry. Bona, my mom trapped me that day. Yo. And it was not only me, in fact, all of us. We got a good hiding. So it was always this curiosity with water. Years later, I was doing key account management. Now, I was a key account manager selling telecom training programs. I'm sitting in Mozambique with a former boss of mine. We're sitting there, and he showed me pictures on his computer, and I see again, here's this diving thing popping up again in my life. I see the beautiful images of him diving with sharks at Sodona Bay and Ponta Malongane, Ponta Duoro, all of those. And I said to myself, you know what, let me just try this thing out. 2008, I came back, started diving, and as they say, the rest is history. There is a whole lot of opportunities here. We can create employment, we can create training programs, we can create. And I remember me and my wife were sitting out here in 2011. We started writing a proposal. Both sat and wrote a proposal, started marketing the proposal to Department of Trade and Industry, and it caught fire. And it caught fire. People loved it to say, whoa, scuba diving is not something that we traditionally do as black people, It's something that's, traditionally done by white people, And it's not an issue of discrimination or anything. It's just how it has always been, And what happens now is they said, look, we love this program. We're going to fund it as government, but we need to do proper channels. And they followed proper channels. It was quite exciting times. We started doing the recruitment in 2014. And we started doing our first training classes in 2015, 16, 17. We trained 100 students in the 3 years to become professional divers, to become master divers. And then we helped them to find jobs. So the condition was that once you've trained them, don't abandon them. Train them, help them to find jobs, and place them.
The recent floods in KZN and the Eastern Cape have shown the power and destruction of water and has also highlighted the need to teach water safety to give everyone the best chance possible during these unpredictable times.
We see swimming as some other activity that doesn't fall in our realm. But remember, our kids cross Imifula when they go to schools. And sometimes it rains, and it's not even that much of rain, and then we have our kids, drowning unnecessarily. And I feel that learn to swim should be made compulsory at school, from primary school. I think they're doing that in Gauteng, if I'm not mistaken. We are 28 years in our democracy. We have not produced a single black Olympic swimmer. Not even a single black Olympic swimmer who at least qualifies to go to the Olympics. We have not. And I don't think that is okay. So my appeal to private companies, my appeal to government is let's make sure that our kids learn to swim. There is a massive industry that we can establish through Learn to Swim. In townships, in rural areas, we can create thousands of jobs for our youth who are unemployed throughout the country in deep rural areas. And I'm more than willing to share some of the ideas. I think at this stage, what one needs to pause and not talk about the business and talk about the tragedies that recently happened in the country. We have had how many people passing on? 455 people that lost their lives in recent floods in both Eastern Cape and KZN. It's just a horrific story. It's a horrible, horrible story, and I would like to send my sincere sympathies from us to all the people that really lost their lives at during these floods. And one can only pray and hope that moving forward we can prepare better, we can help our kids to swim, we can prepare them to at least be drown, to drown-proof them. Of course, this was a horrendous situation. Nobody could anticipate how much water was coming down. One of the elements that we teach in our programs, when we train our kids, is survival floating. How do you float on top of the water, that's a body of water that's moving? Even when you go to sea, when you go into open water, we teach them survival floating. How can you save yourself? How can you make sure that you don't get tired? And when you are tired, what exactly do you do to make sure that you float? In this case, if you remember, it was at night, and there was just a whole lot of water that came down and caught a lot of people unawares. You just want to give a person as much opportunity as possible to float, to stay on top, to avoid debris, all of those things. If they can cling on a tree, all of those things.
Despite the noble intentions of Kholisile and his team, tragedy was not far off.
This is now when the Media Information Communication Technologies, CITA, came on board, MICT, CITA. It could be a mouthful, but the Media Information Communications Technologies, they came on board and they funded us to say, we like this proposal.
80% of these young people finding a job because they learned how to get into the swim. That is exactly what the Mzandi Scuba Diving Academy scuba divers since 2012.
We had already trained them as photographers.
The business was started for the purpose of penetrating the maritime business, which contributes just
with MSDA. The only phase that was left for us to complete was the phase of doing underwater photography. And then the hard times befell MSDA. Yeah, we had to retreat. We had to, do a strategic retreat, as they call it in some terms. We had to shut down. I had to let go of a total of 11 people that I had to let go. Fortunately for us, we carried them throughout the year of, the hard lockdown 2020. And it was during 2021 when we had to let go of them. 2021, we had to let go of all our people. It was a very, very difficult time. I still can see the day we had to shut down, yeah.
Welcome back to the show. Remember, you can find us on social media at Stories Untold TV. A quick reminder, though, you can still send those 10 seconds videos of yourself sharing the incredible work that you do in your particular communities. And of course, we will carry them and put them on this show. Let's continue with today's program. We have introduced you to Mzandi Scuba Diving Academy founder, Kholisile Khumalo, and right now we look at the beneficiaries of his initiative. And they actually bring our attention to some of the incredible careers that are linked to scuba diving.
We sat down, went back to the drawing boards. What did we do wrong? What did we do wrong is this. We did the following wrong. We're only focusing on one client. So we're one-dimensional. We're getting funding only from government, agencies, like your sectoral education training authorities. They're very supportive, very, very supportive. I mean, TITA, MICT, they were exceptionally supportive. But that was our problem. We're focusing on only one dimension
2010,
of
11,
of the funds.
And then I started marketing it.
Then we decided, look,
across various
we need to
sectoral
diversify our
training
business because
authorities.
COVID was just showing
And
us
a couple of
flames.
them has actually
We
come
need
on
to
board
really
to support
diversify our
us to
business.
make
And
sure that
we then
provide
thought
training
of how
to
are we going to
unemployed youth,
diversify our business.
to disaffected
Then we
youth.
thought of an online platform. Because everybody was
Imagine
digital
taking
platforms,
youngsters who have
online
never so much
platforms,
as
selling
dipped
online,
a toe
etc.,
into a swimming pool and turning them
We
into
then
qualified scuba divers 6 months later.
I'm enjoying working with these young adults, and they're working so hard. They seem so determined to learn how to swim because they know how important it is that we finish with this part of the program in order for us to move on to the next one, which will be getting them to dive.
Just a little bit.
They've agreed to actually help us to open an online shop so that we can sell our equipment online. So that's the new channel that we're having now. And then we realized that we don't have our own infrastructure, our own infrastructure, because we're using the municipal infrastructure, swimming pools and all of these other things. So we partnered with Virgin Active, Boulder's Virgin Active, and graciously Virgin Active has agreed to partner with us, So we're now doing Learn to Swim at Virgin Active here at Boulders. And we've partnered with schools around there so that we can teach the kids to swim.
Kholisile's love for uplifting the youth has borne great fruit over the past few years.
Ukuhlangana naye uKholisile ku-MSDA ngangisepool eKings Park. So makafike epool vele ufica vele siyabhukuda vele lapha. Mangabe sefika uya-introduce ukuthi u-MSDA ngiyambuza imibuzo kanjani hawu yini ukudive ayi ngavele ngaxhuma kakhulu ngithi ukudive labantu bafaka inyawo zofish ngathi hayi nayo ke lento le ngifuna ukuyenza like sekafike eKings Park I think bekazo introduce eKZN Aquatic. So and then from lapho ke kwase ukuthi uwenza ama test vele sengiyakwazi ukuswima nani ngase ngajoyina ke ngisengenza like i-course yoku scuba diving. So ngafunda okuningi kakhulu like through i-course like yokudive like ama skills even like nokuba professional zonke izinto ngafunda. And then emva kwalokho ngase ngi-ambitious like ngifuna angisabuka emuva sengiyaphambili like sengiyaphambili like nami sengiyathanda ukufundisa umuntu like kuyi-experience emnandi like uyala ukhona ngazi noma ukuthi usave umuntu noma ufundisa umuntu ukubhukuda angazi ukuthi kwi-imagination engake ngichaze even nomulele ebusuku like ujabule nje ujabule kakhulu. Mangiqala ukumbona ngithi ha umuntu omnyama ngifisela ukuthi umuntu omnyama ngempela ungene kanjani la kwenzakalani. So ngaba nogqozi kakhulu ukuthi ha kunomuntu ongenza ngaleso sikhathi mangabe sifunda ukubhukuda awuvela ugxume nje awazi la ugxumela khona noma kuyashona. Ngiyakhumbula nje ngiphuza amanzi ephuma ngamakhala ngizama like ngizama ukuminza kodwa ngagcina ngikwazi ukubambelela entweni kodwa akazange ngangama. And then la ngakhona ukuvuleleka emqondo khona like ngiyakhumbula ngiqala ukubona i-swimming pool mangifika eThekwini ngibona i-swimming pool ngibuka ukuthi hayi uclear kuyakhanya phansi ngithi hayi kuseduzane kanti 5 meters ngiyagxuma phela ngijayela ukugxuma vele. So and then luckily ngasheshe ngavela ukugwedla vela ngizothi ukugwedla ngagwedla ngabambelele and then yasiyaqala ke iprocess yami yokufunda ama skills like ukubhukuda. Ngase ngiye eDubai la ngiye khona 2017 I think ngisebenze eDubai like 2 years and 3 months. So ngasebenza eDubai as a beach lifeguard. Vele ngifiti vele yabo ngiseva abantu ngisebenza eDubai like ngaba ne-experience like yokusebenza ebeach ngaleso sikhathi. So like impilo yami azange yama. And then from la ngasebenza khona eDubai, so like ngitry ukucombine izinto zami eziwu-2 like ukuthi okay njengamanje ngisebenza as a lifeguard, but impilo yami angifuni ukuthi kube nespace esikhulu kakhulu ngadive. Ngiyakhumbula ngalesi sikhathi ngiseDubai bekwenziwa i-beach clean up, so ngahamba lapha ngiyokwenza i-beach clean up ngiyasho nami ukuthi no ngibatshengisa ama-qualifications ami. U-instructor bekakhona ngaleso sikhathi no but si-recognize upaid, and then I was like no ngiyakwazi ukudive, ngathi ngibuzani noma yini nifuna ungibuza yona. And then wathi uyakwazi ukudive, so bangibuza nge-equipment ngiyakwazi ukukit up, and then base bakhola ukuthi ngiyakwazi ukudive, and then ngayenza nami i-beach clean up ngaleso sikhathi, and then ngajabula. And then kusukela lapho futhi nga-apply ngaemkhunjini because bengisebenzela i-Carnival Cruise Line, so ngihamba as i-lifeguard futhi Carnival Cruise Line.
The opportunities that come with learning how to swim and dive have endless possibilities.
Inland, you can work with organizations like Rainwater to do the reservoir inspections. You can look at dam inspections inland, oil and gas offshore. That's another element that we can do. Aquariums, because the aquariums have to be cleaned. All of those things that needs to happen in aquariums. You need divers. So there's quite a diverse field of areas that you can train your kids and place them. Diving is vast. It's quite vast. As I said, it even touches in areas like the ICT, because we've got underwater sea cables that move from one place to another, that need to be lifted, inspected from time to time. Use divers. Underwater welding, we've got underwater welders that are required in our country. We've just discovered oil offshore in oil and gas, not far away from Gqeberha, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to need underwater welders, So it's quite vast. There's just hundreds of thousands of careers that we can create.
With great opportunity comes great responsibility, as the kids can empty as they found out.
We had kids who come on this program thinking that it's going to be child's play, it's discipline. Because when you get into underwater, when you get in the water, you need to be disciplined. You need to trust the person next to you.
It is an unusual sight in the democratic South Africa to see black entrepreneurs like Kholisile Khumalo leveraging on the scarce skills industries like the maritime space.
You need somebody to give you.
In the years gone by, it was largely a mystery to the black majority of South Africa.
Because if you're not fit, if you're not swim fit, if you are not, fit physically, you're going to find some difficulties diving. What we always challenge people is they must always be neutrally buoyant when they get underwater. Is to say to them, don't sink, don't go up, just be neutrally buoyant. And what I have seen is when the kids come into the program, they are always not so serious, but as we go and progress in the program, they start realizing, oh, gee whiz, this is now a very intense training program. Our program is very intense. I have seen kids coming in at this program not being serious about what they want to do, but they will stick throughout the program. Years later, they will call me, Mr. Khumalo, please send me my qualifications. I'm going to apply for a job at South African Police Services. Please, do this for me. Please, here's my CV, here's my updated CV. Can you help me to find something?
Welcome back to the show. If you've ever considered a career in the maritime industry, this particular segment is definitely for you. Right now, we speak to founder of Mzandi Scuba Diving Academy about the role that this industry could play in the employment of young South Africans.
People need to be informed of water safety and some procedures they have to follow, because water is a very powerful element, and most people in general, most black people are afraid of water. So we have to educate them and show them that water can be developed into a skill of swimming and so on. swim to save your life.
Ngiyafisa like even nasendaweni yangakithi like la ngiphuma khona anduzululand ukuthi ngingaba mhlambe one day ngingaba ne swimming pool ebizwa ngegama lami like ngifuna nje like ngibona ngami even ne club like ingane zasemakhaya because vele like abakwazi ukuswima yabo like ngibona ngami ngiyimagine nje ngifundisa wonke lo muntu lo andi district la engihlala khona ukubhukuda ingane ezincane from ngibona ngibusy kakhulu.
The feeling that I get is it's very exciting, and also it's something nobody else gets to feel, or a few people, the rare kind, gets to experience, to explore underwater and so on. So the feeling it gives me a calm feeling, a sense of belonging, and also a sense of I can take ownership of how I feel at that moment without fearing anything or anyone. I would describe him as a father figure to me, because in a time of need where we were desperate, he would help us. And like as in the ways he's shown us, has helped us along the way. I would say without him, some of my qualifications I would have gotten it. Like if I wasn't in MSDA, I wouldn't have known about firefighter rescue divers. So Mr. Kholisile helped us a lot. It's a few of us he helped us. And like Edin is a great mentor, he has great leadership skills. And for me, it's just, I wish all the best for him because he's always a helping hand.
Ngikugquzela kakhulu relationship yami naye is like ubhuti nosisi umuntu engibukela kuyena.
Kholisile envisions creating and saving lives with what many consider
I think our business adds value to the National Development Plan 2030. If I can just sidetrack a bit and talk about the NDP 2030. The NDP 2030 identifies the maritime economy as one of the contributors to employment then, and they envisage that by 2030 there will be about 1 million jobs that can come from the maritime sector. So imagine if we could have this facility where we, on an annual basis, train 3,500 kids just to teach them to swim, just to teach them to become lifeguards, and we spread them throughout the country. We can establish new venture, we can do new venture creation for these kids. We can help them to establish their own learn to swim schools wherever they're coming from. We can actually reduce and eliminate drownings, unnecessary drownings in the country, you know. So once we have this massive infrastructure that is required, we'll be able to then do, as I said, learn to swim, lifeguarding, and of course, scuba diver training. Because as my passion, if you compare South Africa and Mauritius employs 25% of its people through the tourism sector. We are sitting at around about 7-8%. And we have a bigger economy, we have a longer coastline, we have massive infrastructure that Mauritius doesn't have. So we should be sitting at more than 10%. And I feel that we have not even tapped, we have not even scratched the surface.
And on that very informative note, we'd like to end our show here for this week. Do share your thoughts about our content. We definitely look forward to hearing from you, from myself, Pulem Molebatsi, and the team that makes it all possible. It's a goodbye for now.